District babies are the best babies.
The district? The Central?
Can we talk about the South End got the most culture?
And how we came up with the gigs dance?
But what Seattle really got the gigger team.
This is Seattle from the inside out. From the inside out.
What's good, Seattle? Welcome to another episode of the Youth Insider Podcast from the Inside Out, sponsored by Southeast Network.
You may know them as the Be Safe Bros. They're typically in all blue on Henderson. You know them.
You see him.
You see them in the blue? You know, shake them up when you see them.
They're out there.
They're very down to earth. They always got you there for your safe passage, you know, just looking out for you. I believe they're a huge reason why our crime rate has gone down over the years. When I was in 8th grade, man, there was stuff happening every day.
And why I'm not getting ran over?
Ever since they came in, start building relationships with kids for like them and not for their own benefit, it's been a huge change, I've noticed. So shout out to the Be Safe Bros, Southeast Network. Y'all know who you are.
Shout out to our sponsors. Go check them out. So today we will be discussing Seattle from the inside out. A lot of listeners, whether you're from Seattle, the Seattle area, not even from Seattle, you might be in California for all I care. But, you guys know us for the Seahawks, Starbucks Coffee, Microsoft, Amazon, all these big companies, Rain City. But today we're here to discuss Seattle from the inside out. So Franco, tell us about the inner city, the South End.
South End.
Man, the inner city is organic. The inner city is raw. The inner city, like, you see real life stuff. It'll change a person. Like, you could be from a whole different state and come into the inner city and be a whole different person. It'll make or break you. Especially that part of town, the South End. It's a rough neighborhood. A lot of stuff going, a lot of activity. A lot of kids would that need a lot of guidance. That's why we got a lot of programs now. But the inner city, it's dope. At the same time, it's a lot of fun growing up. You're gonna have some of the best memories of your life growing up in the inner city. You're gonna meet all kinds of people, do all kinds of things. It's a different life. And then especially in Seattle, as it grows, as it's being changed, things are getting teared down and built. The inner city, it just keeps thriving,
Yeah, and I feel like it's like its own, community and village in a sort of way. I like to look at it as my village. I grew up in Rainier Beach area, South End, and just me being able to be around other people who had different cultures from mine, I was able to learn how to understand other people's perspectives and just benefit from growing up in diversity. But yeah, I really appreciate my experience growing up in the inner city because I'm super, I'm very good at code switching and also down to earth as heck. So it definitely made me the person I am today. I love to serve and not for my own benefit. So that's pretty much in my DNA. So yeah.
For sure, heard you on that. Yeah, I feel like the diversity in the neighborhood just really shapes somebody to, basically get along with anybody they meet, just understand other people's cultures, and it's like not nothing, You can have all different kinds of friends and just understand different people, and that's, I feel like, a great tool for life too. So yeah.
Well, I feel like anybody who grows up in the South End understands each other's struggles. It doesn't matter how different it could be. It's like, it's understandable if we grew up together. Like, we're not going through the same things, but I get where you're coming from. And then it's just like a whole lot of hate, like, gets thrown towards Seattle. But it's just so, like, when you actually grow up, it's like, it's so much love and so much Like, everybody's humble if you really get to know someone. Like, no one's gonna have a problem with you until you have a problem with them. I promise you. So, like, if you cool, everybody's finna be cool. Like, the South End is not no place where, like, people just, there's guns everywhere. Everybody just fights on the street. It's not even like that. Like, we'll walk down the street, everybody knows each other. So it's a whole lot of just love and community all together.
It's really like that from the outside looking in. Y'all are coming in on our territory. That's how I put it. In y'all are
Right.
just,
Right.
Yeah,
Who do they think they are?
y'all just receiving the
Trying
the
to throw
treatment
hate on
from
us.
being outsiders. Like you guys see differently because you're not in the actual circle.
So of course they're gonna be like, oh yeah,
Outside.
it looks like that from the outside. Well, yeah, we know you're on the outside. You're not on the inside.
Yeah.
Got it. So before we branch out, the other parts of Seattle, I'm not from the South End, whatever that is, but no, but for real, for people both, from Seattle, but might not be from, Southeast Seattle, and people, not from Seattle, what is the South End geographically?
I would say the South End. I say the South End starts at Jefferson Park and ends in the Rainier Beach area. I would say that's the South End. Skyway neighborhood. That the Skyway neighborhood. It's not to me. It's not considered Seattle, but it is considered like I don't know, like it's still considered home to me. Feel me? 'Cause it's on that side of town, so.
You want to talk about where you're from, Ajala?
I want to clarify for our listeners, but
We'll get to that.
Ajala, proud district baby, all from West Seattle. That's where I grew up. Part of West Seattle. West Seattle, to me, it's like kind of like its own city. It's like, for me, West Seattle was, I wouldn't say segregated, but it was like separated into like two different neighborhoods. Not even neighborhoods, but like I'll really just say sections. So it's like one part of West Seattle you have closer to Alki. That's where I'll say like that's where a lot of the white people live. But then when you run into a black person, they say they're from West Seattle, or you run into somebody that looks like us and they say they're from West Seattle. Generally, they're talking about that Highland Park, White Center area, that Dale Ridge area, or even High Point. And we get it like a lot of stuff, but West Seattle now is even gentrified. So whether you're from Seattle or not, if you go visit High Point right now, I guarantee you all the houses that you see right now in the fields right behind High Point Elementary School, which is now West Seattle Elementary School, super crazy to me. But anyways, none of those houses were there like 3-4 years ago. That just shows you how fast gentrification really changes the neighborhood. And another thing too is like with me, my family being from the Central District, we've been in Seattle for over 70 years. And then so when I'm running around town, whether it be somewhere out in King County or even in Seattle, I run into somebody, they're a district baby. It's not that I don't believe you, it's just kind of hard to believe because we don't really live over there anymore. So, and then we run into this dilemma to where it's like we run into other people who are from the Central District, their families are from the Central District, but we don't really know each other because we've been displaced and we don't really have like a community there anymore. And then so, kind of hopping off, that note in my soapbox and my story, so when you guys talk to people who are from Seattle, or not specifically from your part of Seattle, so we'll say like Southeast Seattle, or somebody who's just not from Seattle in general, what are some things that like you hear and it kind of gets under your skin?
Ooh, when people just be thinking that we got all this money and but in maybe those certain areas, where there's money like North Seattle, maybe different parts like Bellevue or something, but in the South End, that's where the struggle really is. There's a lot of resources that are provided to us, but not a lot is given to us as far as like, just from maybe even
Like
school
funding.
Yeah, school funding. Like compared to all the other schools, I feel like we don't got it like how they got it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I often hear that Rainier Beach is always labeled ghetto, but like we definitely need to talk about where that word came from. But like I just don't like hearing that because they're like on the outside again, outside looking in, and they don't know what we're about and how we operate. So like that's something that gets under my skin.
Are you guys just saying under my skin in general? You know what I don't like? Wait, hold on. You know what I don't like is how when someone from Seattle really makes it, it be people from Seattle who like talk.
Be hating?
Yeah, who
Yeah.
hates the most. Like that's probably what gets under my skin. It's like we all came from the same place, and then someone makes it out, and you're just preying on their downfall. Like that didn't make any sense. Just because you didn't get out and you didn't make it up there, don't mean you just gotta pull someone back down to where you are.
I say what bothers me the most is like how people try to talk about the Rainier Beach area or the South End, and they just try to like put a label on like it's a bad neighborhood or it's ghetto, it's the hood. But it's like if you go to any other neighborhood and you take all the resources out, you take like there ain't no good food places. Like, there's not very much. So you put the people in the community in a position of where they feel like they have to survive. So I just feel like if before people say that, I want them to think about if their community got stripped of the resources in jobs and in food and everything else. So
Yeah, I feel like, honestly, we got culture, we got, everybody knows each other, so it's like a family, basically, you know? Like Miracle says, it's like her village. Everybody knows each other. Everybody kind of, has love for each other. And staff at the schools really care about their students. I feel like when I went there, it was like more intimate, like when they were helping us with schooling. They always want us to do good and see us do good. So yeah.
I mean, personally, I never went to a school without an auntie, a cousin, or someone working there. I never went to a school in South End without someone working there. That was related to me. I have never went to none of Dunlap, freaking Aki. No, actually, now that I think of it, no.
The sad part is like the teachers are working with limited resources.
Right.
So they're trying to do everything
Barely.
they can to like help the student. But yeah.
like we got like in my neighborhood, the teachers is telling us like they're coming out of their pockets for the pencils and the erasers and the notebooks and all that. Like it's not even getting funded
All
to
the
them
time.
in our neighborhood.
Yes.
So
Talking about, because all this, yeah,
even the teachers is all moving on survival.
trying to help us.
Right.
I don't know. For me, one thing that gets under my skin is when, I go to these national conferences or, I just travel and I tell people where I'm from. I say Seattle. They're like, oh, Seattle? I didn't know there's black people up there. And that's not necessarily the thing that gets under my skin, but I'll talk to somebody. They might be from the south side of Chicago. They might be from Stockton, California, Compton, California, whatever. And then they want to compare their dirt to our dirt. Things going on in our inner city, and they want to act like we don't go through things too. But at the same time, you have to understand that it's like, our demographic is also smaller than your demographic. So it might not happen as often, but at the same time, we're also still impacted because of how few of us are actually up here. When I say few of us, I mean people of color. And, at the end of the day, we need to stop comparing and we need to do more collaborating as far as, whether that be like a program that's in your city. Hey, that's a good idea. I see what it's doing for your city when we bring it over to my city. At the end of the day, we're still both dirty and we both need a shower.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, like I don't understand that. Like why glorify some negative? At the end of the day, I mean, that we're talking about. People would be talking about what neighborhood's the worst instead of talking about what they could do to help the neighborhood out.
So transitioning to, like a lighter note, so as I mentioned before, Seattle's known for Microsoft, the Seahawks, the rain, Starbucks coffee, all of that, but that's not our experience necessarily. And that's like also normal to us because of how often we see it through the city. So on the national level, what do you guys think Seattle should be more known for? Based off your experience, what you've seen and what you contributed to.
I was
Sorry. Our diversity, that's like a really big thing for me because I know when I was growing up, and when I left, I understood people from a lot of different perspectives, understood other people's cultures, and I just got along with everybody basically because, you know, there's so many different kinds of people around you, and it's just good to see and know what people, you know, different cultures are and all that. Because I know for me, when I went somewhere and there was only one race, like everybody was basically the same to me, and it was just weird. And for them, when they met me, it was like a culture shock for them, and they were like, "There's Asians like you?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" Because, you know, people have their stereotypes on races and all that kind of stuff. So
Oh, I understand what you're saying. Like, Asians have to be excuse my French. Asians have to be super smart, and black people don't go to school and steal. Like, I hate stereotypes, like, just different types of things. But, like, me, I feel like just the culture in general. People should just, because there's so much culture in Seattle. There's, like, the white parts of Seattle, but there's so much culture in Seattle. That it's just everybody just blatantly overlook and just don't pay attention to. So
I think Seattle should be known for its creativity as well as its, I want to say, opportunity. In Seattle, we have like a lot of people that play a sport. They're artists, whether it's music, or drawing. Like in Seattle, there's just like, I've met a lot of people who are very creative of what they do with their career. Like, I know somebody who, like, she wants to be a singer, but in the meantime, she's being a lawyer. Like, you know, like just thinking of what you can do positive, like, to create revenue. Like, I don't know, a lot of people in Seattle, they're just like a lot of things, like even with the companies like Microsoft and Amazon, who would have thought like something like that could turn into $1 billion, $1 trillion industry. So I would just say the creativity.
Definitely. Yeah, I feel like we all have, or we know of somebody who has like just talent for something different. Like creativity, as you mentioned. You guys want to talk about like your experience growing up?
who gonna go first?
All right, I'll go first. Growing up, it was fun. I played Little League football. I played football for a team in the South End. When I was younger, I was going to play for Rainier Beach, their Little League team, but they had got discontinued. They didn't have enough money for their funding, so I had to go to Beacon Hill. And everybody played for Beacon Hill, like, growing up. Like, a lot of the people I know now, a lot of people I used to hang out with in high school, middle school, we all grew up together. We all played a sport together at some point. Like, whether, even if it was AAU when we were younger, like, growing up, it was like everybody was family. Everybody knew each other, because once you got older, once you got to high school and you seen people out, it was like, okay, I already know them. Or like it would be talking about old memories and just, you know, just seeing people grow and doing their own thing. Like, it's pretty cool, I guess.
yeah, I feel like growing up, it was a really good community. Seattle's way smaller than you think it may be. Everybody knows everybody, basically. Just like from going to games, playing your schools against each other, you know, knowing each other just through mutual friends, and then everybody always kicks it at the mall and stuff. It's fun, you know? Everybody knows each other. Everybody got love. Sometimes hate, though, you know.
You know what they say, if you ain't got haters, you ain't doing something right.
Right.
But it was just a really good, I feel like, atmosphere and good memories that, you know, shape the way you are.
Yeah. Well, I feel like growing up in Seattle ain't for everybody. It's not for the weak. Like you have to be like able to deal with a lot of hard situations, a lot of like you're gonna be put in a lot of different like rough situations, I'm trying to say, and like you just got to be able to know how to deal with them. Like yeah, there might be drive-by shootings around in the neighborhood, there might be like fights and all types of stuff, yeah, and you just gotta know where to be at the right place at the right time. And yeah, so I would just feel like, and growing up in Seattle, it was fun only because like my siblings and my cousins, my family made it fun, and just like being able to be comfortable in your community and like knowing everybody and just like not being afraid to, you know, be who you are where you live is like it's everything. And so like I feel like Seattle gives you like that good opportunity to just grow up in culture.
Definitely agree. My experience, I started off at Thompson, which was in Skyway. They don't exist anymore, but I went there for pre-K, and then, well, before that, I went to Emerson for like before pre-K, early school, and then I went there. Then I came to Dunlap on Henderson, and then I don't know streets exactly, but yeah, and then I went to South Shore. My second grade year to 8th grade, and like I was just like, I'm an overachiever, so I was always just striving to get straight A's. I would freaking be up hecka late doing homework in middle school. Like it was crazy. I was just setting this like pattern because at a young age I always knew I wanted to be a doctor. So like I was just like, okay, so it's not typical for people who look like me to be in this industry, so I got to work like 10 times harder to get where I want to be. And so I just like, all right, I'm watching videos. I'm like, how do you do this? So you got to have your grades on point. So I'm just like, you know, I'm just scholarly. I didn't have no time to really make friends, hang out with people. So like I was kind of the scholar kid, but like everybody liked me for some reason. Like,
'Cause you're married.
I wasn't antisocial or nothing, but I just like kept to myself and like just minded my own business. And so like it actually shook me. The end of my 9th grade year, I went to Summit. I actually wanted to go to Rainier Beach because I was born to be a Viking. Actually graduated from there, thank God. But shout out to, you know, my experience at Summit. But why I mentioned that was the end of my 9th grade year. It was summertime and I got shot. It was, you know, I was an innocent bystander, so like that was like the last thing that I was expecting to ever go through. So I'm just like sharing my story, like it can happen to anybody. Like bullets have no name on it. So like even coming from a background where I'm just like focused, always doing the right thing and just staying away from drama and all that, like sometimes you are a product of your environment. And growing up in the South End, yeah, I had that experience, but I'm super grateful for it because I'm able to connect with my peers and I'm able to tell my story because maybe somebody else is not comfortable with sharing their story. So just being able to be comfortable with just sharing what happened to me, and then it just shows like I'm able to connect with people. Like as I mentioned before, like I was always keeping myself in my own lane, but like that opened doors for me to connect with other people. And yeah, I'm just super grateful because, yeah, you said the South ain't for the weak. So
not at all.
I'm a prime example for like overcoming, you know, adversity. It looks different for everybody, but you know, there's similar experiences for people. So
Thank you for sharing. For me, my experience, like I mentioned earlier, I grew up in the West Seattle and Central District neighborhoods. When I was younger, I don't know, the thing I remember the most is probably just the barbecues and like what a community really feels like to me. Like I'm 18 now, so I feel like I haven't really like been like in a community, like for real, in like over 10 years. You know, it's like when we're in the Central District, there's 2 parks I was always at. There's Duce Park, which is Barnett, and then there's Dussault Park, which is Pratt Park. And then so there, you know, we're having a barbecue, and we'll be anywhere 30 to 40 people deep at the park. If you've seen the park before, the park's not that big, so 30 to 40 people, that doesn't make sense. But we were there. And so at the park, one thing I liked about it was we'll be 30, 40 people deep, but everybody knew each other. Everybody was connected some type of way, whether we're related, our parents went to school together, and I just like really miss that community. It's like you drive by Dussault Park right now, Dussault, they're doing construction on Dussault Park right now, but you drive by those two parks, you don't see anybody there. You might see like a white person or two sitting in the grass reading the book. There's nothing wrong with that, you know. It's nothing wrong with that.
Used to seeing.
It's just not what I'm used to seeing, and I miss it, you know. Or, you know, even going back over to West Seattle. So, you know, all the community drives we did, whether that be on Del Ridge Community Center or over at High Point Community Center. The back to school drives that we did, you know, doing work with Neighborhood House over there. I just miss a lot of that. You don't really see that. Even for the people who still live in West Seattle in the Central District, like we don't have like a lot of those programs or, you know, just that sense of community anymore. And like to me, it seems like everybody's like passive aggressive too. Like Seattle, I feel like just in general with people in Seattle, a lot of people are passive aggressive, especially when seeing each other. Like I remember, you know, I'm not from the South End, but I know like a majority of middle school because of programs I was in, Rainer Scholars, or, you know, I might be going to an auntie's house. I'm catching a 106, I'm catching a 7, I'm catching a 107. I'm not from the South End, so I'm already cautious, but then you got all these people mean mugging you, but then you also got to remember, they don't know that I'm from West Seattle. They don't know I'm from the Central District. I'm just on the bus. So, and then sometimes it's weird too, because I'll be catching the bus, and it's somebody that I know. Like, I've known them for 10 plus years, but I haven't seen them in like 5 years. But neither of us say what's up to each other, and I feel like that's something we need to change and like really, you know, tap back into in Seattle, because it's weird. It's like catching the 7, and I see somebody, oh, I used to play football with you, or whatever the case may be, and we're both thinking that, but we're not going to say anything to each other
Right.
for some odd reason, which is weird.
That's really obvious.
So that's just something that like really bothers me, and I feel like that's something we need to get back to as far as sense of community.
I feel like people up here, like in Seattle, are stuck up too. Like, and what I mean by that, like, I'll go to the UW area, right? And I'll be walking on the street. Somebody might bump into me, and they won't say nothing, or, you know, like, you might be like hello to somebody, open up the door to somebody, they don't even say thank you or nothing. But like, I don't know. I just feel like people feel like they're better than somebody up here. Like, it's just stuck up. It's just, cause I know down south, for sure, like you could go outside your house, on your porch and go talk to your neighbor and about anything in the world. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's just different. Like, I feel like people up here, like, to piggyback on what you said, you were like people hate up here, like when somebody makes it. I feel like even before, like even when they see her trying to make it, they'll start hating. Like, I just feel like, you know, people don't want to see nobody do better than them.
And it'll be like the people who give back to the community too. They be hating. Like, how you gonna hate on somebody giving back to your community? I don't understand that.
Yeah. But growing up, like in the Rainier Beach area, it's gonna make or break you. Like, you're either gonna go right or you're gonna left. You're either gonna make it or you're not. That's just it. Like, growing up in that neighborhood, that's how it is. It's either one or two options. It's so easy to get distracted. It's so easy to fall into a group. It's so easy to be misguided. So it's kind of cool that we get to do this program where we get to guide the youth, because like I used to be that youth that needed guidance at one point in time. So yeah.
Yeah, to add on to Franco's part, like another thing I like about Seattle is that, you know, naturally we're just resilient. But at the same time, whenever we make it in whatever profession, whatever career that might be, we oftentimes are like at the top. So, you know, you got people coming out of Seattle like Sir Mix-a-Lot, Quincy Jones, Jimi Hendrix, all from the Central District, by the way. But anyway, you know, I'll name a couple of basketball players too, like DeJounte Murray, Jamal Crawford, Nate
Kevin
Robinson,
Porter.
and all that. But at the same
All
time,
from the
Dave's
South
and is
End.
giving back to his community.
All right.
Very active in his
all
community.
right. This evening,
Very.
all
Wait,
right.
but where they
Can
from
you name
though?
some people from the Central though?
All right,
That's
anyway.
stay active. Stay active.
But anyways,
That made it and came back.
Brenda Ware don't count.
May I contact with y'all?
All right.
'Cause,
Shook your hand a few times. Come on now.
All right, so yeah, I fell outnumbered. But anyways, getting back to my point, I just like appreciate our resilience. You know, like when we do make it, we get to the top. But at the same time, we're very down to earth. You know, it's like you'll see people like Jamal Crawford, often in the community, whether that be here at the Vista, whether that be at Rainier Beach Community Center, Rainier Community Center. You're always gonna see him. It's not like he made it and like dipped, like he's not in Seattle no more. But I really appreciate that about, you know, our celebrities and people who made it.
For sure. And also just like the mentors in the neighborhood, as well as, you know, teachers, counselors. I feel like the staff at my school, when I went to Beach, or I still do, they've helped me a lot. That's why when I left, I came right back to Beach, because my experiences there are like unforgettable. The counselors have a big part in that. Just all the staff in general. They guided me. They help you understand a lot about life and help you get through things in life. And it helped me shape into the person I am. They've also provided all these resources for me to succeed in life. And they always just want to see you do well. They just serve for us and they expect nothing back from us, and that's what I really love about my community. So yeah.
And so when we talk about our community, you know, a common thing I'm seeing is we're talking about a lot of stuff that happened, we'll say like 5+ years ago, something that happened in our youth. And so looking back into that, what have you seen change in your community in the last 5 to 10 years? And then if you want, you can add on a bullet point or two, like why you think that changed.
I'll start it. So I definitely see a lot more white people comfortable in, you know, my home. Walking their dogs.
That's what I was gonna say.
Late at night.
At nighttime, like,
Nighttime. I know, like, we don't even be out like that. Like,
I'm not
probably
going out
to
at
the
nighttime
store real
Rainier
quick, but
Beach.
we're not out here like just walking dogs and stuff. But like, yeah, I just noticed like a change. Like, there's a lot more white people, and just it makes me really think about, you know, we're working on the renovation for Rainier Beach, and like, what are we gonna do to preserve our community and prevent it from fully gentrifying?
Right.
Because it does take time ahead to plan out gentrification for it to fully execute and be successful. As we have seen from the Central District, no shade at all, I'm serious. We definitely need to learn from them and figure out how we're gonna come together and prevent this from happening to the South End. Like, seriously. I feel like we lost focus. We all need to wake up and just tune into what's going on in our community. Because, like, yeah, we've been pushing it so long. You know, the NAACP Youth Council has definitely been pushing so long for the BEX 5 for Rainier Beach renovation, a full-on renovation. We had to jump over the stump to keep them from actually making it a landmark. So, yeah, there's just a lot of different steps that we need to prepare for and work together on.
Facts, because I feel like our renovation is the start of them thinking they're gonna gentrify the city. Because, you know, we're like the last to, you know, own our streets still.
Right.
They're breaking down so many buildings, building more apartments, and it's just gonna make it, you know, kick people out, basically. You know, we're not gonna be here no more. People are gonna say they're from the South End, and, you know, they can't live there because it's too expensive. You know, people's property taxes are going up. They can't live in their homes no more. They have to sell it. People are trying to buy their houses and kick them out so they could build all these apartments, you know, move these white people in and have them gentrify our neighborhood. And, you know,
I just want to speak on Brandon Street by itself. My grandma has owned a house on that street for years, since my auntie her last daughter was born, and she's like,
On what side, if you don't mind me asking, like on Seward or Rainier or MLK or Beacon? Like, cause this is Brandon Street, right? Talking about Brandon Street in South End, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just asking
Oh,
what
it's
side.
right there. You
No,
know
I'm
about
asking-
Aki Karosi?
No, I'm saying on what
Does she
street?
still live there?
No, huh?
Does she still live in the house?
No, they just moved out. Well, they
Oh,
just
I was
moved out. A white man bought her house. But I'm just saying that whole entire street, like, there's only there's only 2 black people left on that street, and I have never seen like so many like non-colored people walking.
White people.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Say it. They
I'm
say black people. Why can't we say white people? Like,
Well, I
it's simple.
Okay.
Um,
But I just never seen like so many like white people walking like on these streets, like so comfortable.
Being comfortable, yeah.
Like just so like comfortable being in their own skin. Like these were our streets. These were the streets we could be comfortable like walking down. Now we have to worry about like Seattle police going around because they have to protect the white people and like all types of like different stuff. That's what I'm saying, no, for real. Because when the police get called, even if like it doesn't matter who the caller is, if there's a black person and a white person in the area where it's called, who are they gonna think committed the crime?
A black person.
A black person.
I mean,
It doesn't matter if the white person committed a crime. They're gonna go based off of skin color. That's
Yeah,
what I'm
like-
saying. So the risk is bringing like it's not good for us because if more white people are coming in here
they're
trying
becoming
to
the majority
Yeah.
of our community, then we're gonna be kicked out.
right, because it's not gonna be like a safe place anymore. It's not gonna be like home anymore. You feel me? So
Yeah, I was just having to talk about this last night. Like, this renovation of Rainier Beach is gonna be huge, but I feel like people aren't thinking about the long run. Like, what people fail to realize is that the renovation is it's gonna happen. It's a done deal. That's gonna happen. But what's gonna happen next? Are they gonna make it a choice school? Are they gonna make it to where, you know, are they gonna kick the kids out that's already there? Like, cause when that school gets built, every house in that area, the value's gonna go up. Like when you live in an area with a good school, it's gonna be with the best school in the district once it's rebuilt. I mean, it's gonna be the best school in the district. Every house is gonna go up, all the house property. So that's the gentrification of, I mean, if people don't hold on to their property, the best thing you could do right now is go buy a dirt cheap house in the South End in the Rainier Beach area, because as soon as that school's rebuilt, it's gonna shoot up. Immediately, it's gonna shoot up. So
And that's pretty much what they're doing now is like they're working on the families of the students that attend Rainier Beach. So if the students don't have a home that's within, you know, the zip codes for them to attend Rainier Beach, then they're gonna be kicked out automatically because they don't stay in the South
Right.
anymore.
right.
So it's like pretty much all set up for us to be transitioned out, pushed out.
Piece
and
by
then
Get the
piece.
boot.
we're not gonna have our
Basically.
community anymore. I feel like if Rainier Beach goes, that's our whole community, basically.
yeah,
That's the heart of the South
That's-
End. Like
that's-
literally, yeah. I feel like the only hope is the Asian community and the East African community.
Yeah.
Them, I really, you know, like how they work together and keep their money in their
and
family.
the family, they stick together.
And we need to take notes as a community for like working together to keep our community away from outsiders and just
Before
keeping
South
our
End.
property, like
Exactly.
educate ourselves, educate each other. Like I feel like we are in sleep mode right now, and we're like focusing on the wrong stuff, and we need to be like working together, having people like doing real estate, giving classes,
That's
like
the
free
one.
classes to, you know, our community about how do you get your first house,
How to
do
get
you
equity.
like be successful independently financially. Like we need to learn all that, and so like yeah, that's where my head's at.
They need to teach how to get equity too, because equity is important. Like, you could get equity on the house and go put money down on the house, but don't put no money down. Just take your equity from your house and put it down on another house. Like, they need to teach people about that too. But yeah, like in the community, they done took away some stores, barbershops, restaurants, They're still tearing down stores. They're building as we speak. Yeah, it's just the light rails would changed a lot though. Like the light rail wasn't the last 5 years, but it changed a lot. I feel like that's what brought a lot of white people in. They started building apartments and places for people to live closer to the light rail. And South End's just different. Like you said, like white people being outside at 11 at night, walking their dog, like it's a thing to do. Like you go back, like before I was born, you know, I was hearing stories that if somebody, they don't even got to be white. If it's somebody you don't know on the block, they're getting ran off and they're getting their stuff. Like it's just a whole different. It's just a whole different, like, I don't know.
Basically, they're trying to turn the South End into South Seattle.
Yeah, pretty much.
What you're saying though, about them, you know, a lot of stores are closing down. You know, it's happened already. Coronavirus doesn't make that any better. You know, a lot of people lost a lot of money, can't afford anything, can't even afford to live in the South End anymore. You know, can't afford to pay their rent. That's kicking a lot of people out too. Shutting a lot of stores down, giving those rich people an opportunity to buy the property and, you know, gentrify the neighborhood. And that's what they've been working on. Like, I've seen a lot of buildings, you know, get bought and then getting torn down and then apartments getting built, you know, new stores getting built, whatever, you know, and it's just changing. A lot's changing without us knowing, and the people that are aware, you know, a lot of them only got it themselves. And I feel like if people come together and, you know, try to make a change so that doesn't happen and fight for, you know, your community, it'll be all good.
Yeah, it's literally about strategic planning, because, like, I feel like it starts from when you're a kid. Like, you're set up to not succeed in the system. So, like, us as people of color, will have to work 20 times harder to, like, even make it to a certain point in our lives. Like, we have to get higher paying jobs so we can buy back our property. Like, it's a lot of stuff that we have to do in order for us to survive in this system.
And so, as I'm listening to you guys, I'm hearing like 4, you know, reoccurring themes. So, we got white people, we got the closing of stores and businesses, we got renovation, and we got gentrification. Now, for the people listening who don't exactly know what gentrification is or how it's a problem, can one of you guys unpack what gentrification is?
I don't know, maybe you could speak on, like,
Custody.
you know more than we do firsthand what gentrification is. Just
All
saying.
right, so
Yeah, because you had the experience.
okay, I get it. All right, anyway,
Just saying.
Anyways.
We're just saying.
So to my understanding, gentrification is when people pretty much just like let the property value of certain neighborhoods drop, and then so they can go in and buy those neighborhoods. So once they buy the neighborhoods, they flip the neighborhood so that the property value goes up. And then so by doing so, they're pushing out marginalized communities such as Black, Southeast Asian, and etc.
Yeah.
And then so just to unpack, I guess, like your guys' solutions, could you guys speak more on like strategic planning and what that is?
Man, learning, like, as far as so we can keep our community, learning about equity, learning about just man, like owning property. Like, we're so busy trying to compete with each other, who got what, instead of coming together to buy this neighborhood or buy this whole lot. You feel me? Like, people don't think like that. That's what we need to do though, is really come together. We need to learn about equity, property, real estate, what else? Landscaping. We need to learn about all that. We just need to learn and stop sleeping and wake up.
Definitely need to invest in the newer generations, because they're going to be responsible for the future too. So, like, that means setting up the school funding so it's equitable within all of the different schools. Like, it looks different for Rainier Beach versus Roosevelt or Nathan Hale. They have different resources from us. So us as students, we're pretty much cut short from what we can be, you know, attaining, like, knowledge-wise, or like, we have a lot of opportunities, but, like, I'm saying, like, in terms of the curriculums, they're not the same. Like they're learning stuff that's setting them up for college. Like,
Setting up for life. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. I know there's people who have like even taken the IB program. Like that's not even like setting people up for college. There was a student who pretty much went into college and was like, they were pretty much shocked about like what they were learning. They could not keep up really. Like there was just no like proper setup for them to onboard college classes. So I feel like we need a equitable education, like top tier education, so we can actually know more stuff about the stuff in the real world.
Facts. Hold yours. Like if you got property and you own it in the South End, don't let the white man come in and offer you a couple million to buy the house so that they could break it down and build some apartments. Because I know for a fact, like a lot of people I know, my family that live out here, they've been offered money to to sell their house, so you know these people could come in and break it down and build apartments so that everybody else gets kicked out because they can't afford property taxes once all these houses go up.
And they are not building no low-income houses. They are
Yeah,
not.
right.
They're not.
At all.
And it's really about like, do you want this $1 million right now, or do you want triple that by waiting like maybe a few years?
Yeah. And people think it's us as like thinking, oh, you guys just want to keep the raggediness and you guys want it messed up. Like, it's not like that at all. Like, this is our community and they don't understand our perspective on it when they're breaking down houses just to build apartments, and they don't understand that they do understand it's kicking us out. Actually,
They know what they're doing.
That's what they want.
They know what they're doing.
And I feel like the people that are aware of this, you know, we could all come together, do something to stop it. Maybe talk to city council, just any possible way to just educate people more on this and what's happening in your community, because they're catching a lot of people from facts. They're getting a lot of people blindsided, and nobody knows what's happening till it actually happens, you know, and then you gotta leave.
So speaking more on gentrification and kind of like, you know, what it's done to our community and moving more outside the South End, so more towards, you know, the Central District, West Seattle, and even, you know, certain areas of the South End that are, I wouldn't say completely gentrified, but for the most part, gentrified. What advice would you give to people both looking at the now, so the present and the future, for people who live in different communities? So for people who don't know, people who are new to Seattle or people who aren't from Seattle, a lot of us are moving down south to Federal Way, Tacoma. Tacoma has always also had its own community, but we'll talk about the 253 at a later date. But what advice would you give to families that are moving out to Federal Way, or at least like 2 generations into, you know, living out there, establishing their own community in Federal Way, Renton, and all these other cities?
Definitely work together to prevent you from getting even kicked out of those communities, because they're pushing out people even further south. So like, it's moving fast.
For sure. Next thing you know, you're gonna be moving out the state.
For real, that's what I be saying. Like,
Moving real down south.
right?
'Cause even Federal Way, like
They
stuff's
trying to get
getting
us off the
built.
planet. That's crazy.
Stuff's getting built in Federal Way too. Stuff's getting put in
Down
place
south,
too.
down south.
Like Federal Way High School got remodeled, you know. So like, stuff's gonna be going up in Federal Way pretty soon. So just don't make the same mistake. Like honestly, if people would have just and if the South End does be completely gentrified and everybody gets put out, it just means that we let history repeat itself and we didn't educate ourselves enough on what already happened, because that happened to us when in the Central. So I mean, we can either let it happen or not, because we can be in control. We don't sell our property. I mean, what can they do? They can't just come kick us out. So, I mean, it's just about being smart. Just be smart. Be thankful for what you do have and what you don't, and like don't worry about what you don't.
Yeah, for me, my biggest thing is just establishing that sense of community and what community means to you. You know, so if you're a parent, really be involved in not only your kids' schools, but like their PTAs and their just the other parents at the school as well. Just get to know the people you actually live by and live with. Be involved with, you know, your city council, be involved with the mayor, even local politics, so all the way up to the governor. And just really being involved and setting that precedent and the model, because if you set that precedent and the model for your family, people around you, and your children, I'll say 8 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, they're going to do the same thing. And then so, to end this episode on a lighter note, do you guys want to educate our listeners about the Gigs Dance? Like, what exactly is that?
Yes, for sure. Well,
While West Seattle's trying to claim it, and
Whoa.
while the Bay's trying to claim it.
Before you guys say anything, I just wanted to say, anytime this dance is done anywhere out of state, even like on social media, people go crazy when they see you doing it. Like, people will freak out. Like, they act like they've never seen dance moves like that before. Like, I must have went to a college party and somebody started doing it in front of everybody dancing, and everybody just went crazy. And it's really simple, but yeah.
Yeah,
it's just a,
But that's why our culture.
My cousin goes to school out in the Bay, and he said he was at a party and he was doing the Gigs Dance, and they didn't know what it was. So he said he had to put them on. So that's confirmation that it didn't come from the Bay. So we could just put that to the side. But we know it came from the South End. Mm-hmm. The Gigs Dance was around, 2010, 2011?
I'll say 2012.
Yeah.
But it was like the year Shadid and Khalil were on the basketball team. I know they were like the main ones that started that dance.
Yeah.
Because I just know going to all the games, all that. Yeah, that's pretty much, you know, what you do when you grow up in the South End, go to the games. That's like the highlight of that.
yeah. Like Rainier Beach, like basketball is kind of like a culture. Like we did it every year I went there. We would dance before the games, do the little
And then you see other basketball teams trying to do their
that's
what?
like, don't jock the swag.
I ain't gonna lie, the West did put a little spin on it, but let's not forget where it came from, though.
Wait, when?
I seen some people. They were.
Are you talking about that little dance? I think I know what you're talking about. In front
They
of
be
yourself.
doing extra.
In front of yourself, huh?
Okay, so before we end this segment on the Gigs Dance, you know, as somebody here representing West Seattle, just to speak on the West Seattle comment, West Seattle does not claim the Gigs Dance. However, I will say we do it the best in the city, for one. And two, we do put our own spin on it. That's just to end that.
Elaborated on the dance.
One thing I do give credit to West Seattle, it is a very beautiful part of Seattle.
2-4 to the 4-4.
The knockoff South. Turn it off.
They just try to copy the streets. I don't know how you can copy it.
All right, so thank you again for listening to the Youth Insider Podcast from the Inside Out, sponsored by Southeast Network. Sudi, how can they get in contact with us?
Don't be shy, you know. Follow us on the gram, SRB Youth Insider. And yeah, shout out to Southeast Network. Without them, this wouldn't be possible.
Safe, bro.
You know?
Yep.
Yep.
And we're out.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.